Throughout history, science has pushed boundaries, sometimes leading to human experiments that seem strange, shocking, or even unethical. These experiments tested the limits of human endurance, behavior, and biology in ways few could imagine or understand fully. Many such studies were conducted without modern ethical standards, often placing subjects in unusual or dangerous situations. Understanding these bizarre experiments helps us appreciate how far medical ethics and human rights have come today. Prepare yourself as we explore 15 of the most bizarre human experiments ever conducted throughout history. These accounts will shock, intrigue, and challenge your views on science and human nature's limits. 1. The Stanford Prison Experiment. In 1971, psychologists created a mock prison to study behavior, assigning roles of guards and prisoners to college students. The guards quickly became abusive and authoritarian, while the prisoners showed extreme stress and helplessness in days. The experiment was ended early after only 6 days due to psychological harm and ethical concerns over treatment. Despite criticism, it remains a landmark study in understanding authority, conformity, and cruelty in social psychology. 2. The Milgram Obedience Study. Stanley Milgram's 1961 experiment tested willingness to obey authority by asking participants to deliver shocks to others. Even when shocks appeared painful or dangerous, many participants continued following orders without question. This study exposed unsettling truths about obedience, authority, and human cruelty under pressure. Milgram's findings continue to inform psychology, ethics, and our understanding of human behavior today. 3. The Monster Study. In 1939, researchers conducted an experiment on orphaned children to study stuttering and its psychological effects. Some children were given positive speech therapy, while others received negative feedback designed to induce stuttering. The study caused lasting psychological trauma and speech issues in some children, raising ethical questions. The Monster Study remains one of the most controversial and unethical speech experiments in history. 4. The Tuskegee Syphilis Study. From 1932 to 1972, the U.S. Public Health Service studied untreated syphilis in African American men without informing them. Participants were denied treatment even after penicillin became the standard cure, leading to severe health consequences. The study's deception and exploitation of vulnerable people caused outrage and led to major reforms in medical ethics. Tuskegee's legacy continues to impact trust in healthcare among minority communities to this day. 5. The Monster Experiment. In 1950s Canada, researchers studied sensory deprivation by isolating children in soundproof rooms for days at a time. The deprivation caused severe psychological distress, hallucinations, and cognitive impairments in the young participants. The study aimed to understand how lack of sensory input affects mental health but caused lasting trauma to subjects. This experiment revealed the vital importance of sensory experience for healthy psychological and neurological function. 6. The Little Albert Experiment. In 1920, John Watson conditioned a baby named Albert to fear white rats by pairing them with loud, frightening noises. Albert eventually showed fear responses not just to rats, but to other white, furry objects, demonstrating learned phobias. The experiment shed light on classical conditioning but lacked ethical safeguards and long-term care for Albert. Little Albert's story remains a cautionary tale about the ethics of behaviorist research with children. 7. The Aversion Project. During apartheid in South Africa, the Aversion Project aimed to cure homosexuality in military personnel using electric shocks. Subjects were subjected to painful treatments intended to suppress their sexual orientation without consent or ethical review. Many experienced severe psychological trauma and physical harm as a result of this brutal and discriminatory experiment. It highlights the dangers of pseudoscience and discrimination being legitimized by supposed scientific study. 8. The MK-Ultra program. In the 1950s and 60s, the CIA conducted secret experiments on mind control, using drugs like LSD on unwitting subjects. The goal was to develop techniques for interrogation and psychological manipulation during the Cold War era. Many participants suffered long-term mental health issues, and the program was conducted without informed consent. The program's secrecy and ethical violations shocked the public when details were eventually revealed decades later. 9. The aversion therapy on homosexual soldiers in the 1960s, military hospitals in the US used aversion therapy to treat homosexual soldiers, often involving painful electric shocks. The therapy aimed to associate negative feelings with same-sex attraction through physical punishment and psychological coercion. Many veterans reported lasting trauma, depression, and social stigma resulting from these cruel and invasive treatments. Aversion therapy's harmful effects have since been condemned, and such treatments are now banned and discredited worldwide. 10. The human radiation experiments. During the Cold War, the US government conducted secret radiation experiments on unaware civilians and military personnel. Subjects were exposed to radioactive materials without their knowledge to study the effects on human health. Many suffered severe illnesses, including cancer and radiation sickness, from these unethical tests. They highlight the dangers of prioritizing national security over individual rights and medical ethics. 11. The bystander effect experiment. In the 1960s, researchers staged emergencies to observe if people would help strangers in distress under observation. Results showed many bystanders failed to intervene, revealing the psychological phenomenon known as the bystander effect. It demonstrated how social context and group dynamics influence human behavior in critical situations. The findings have since informed emergency response training and social psychology research worldwide. 12. The Robbers Cave experiment. In the 1950s, psychologists studied group conflict by splitting boys at a summer camp into rival teams to provoke competition. The study observed how quickly in-group favoritism and out-group hostility developed among the children. Though insightful, the experiment's manipulation of children's emotions raises ethical concerns today. This research helped deepen understanding of prejudice, conflict, and social reconciliation processes. 13. The Monster Study, revisited. In the 1930s, researchers conducted an experiment on orphans to study the effects of positive and negative speech therapy. Some children were deliberately subjected to harsh criticism to induce stuttering and emotional distress. The experiment caused lasting psychological harm and is widely condemned for its unethical treatment of vulnerable kids. The Monster Study remains a cautionary tale about ethics in speech pathology and human experimentation. 14. The Sleep Deprivation Experiment. Scientists have studied the effects of prolonged sleep deprivation on humans by keeping participants awake for days or weeks. Subjects experienced hallucinations, paranoia, cognitive decline, and severe physical symptoms during these tests. While the experiments provided insight into the importance of sleep, the extreme conditions raised serious ethical issues. These findings underline how critical sleep is for brain function and overall health, but question methods used. 15. The Third Wave Experiment. In 1967, a high school teacher created a social movement called the Third Wave to demonstrate how easily people adopt authoritarian behaviors. Students quickly embraced strict discipline, uniformity, and groupthink, mirroring fascist ideologies without realizing it. The experiment showed how social pressure can lead to conformity, obedience, and loss of individual moral judgment. The Third Wave Experiment remains a powerful lesson on the dangers of authoritarianism and group influence. Thank you for watching this video exploring some of the most bizarre and controversial human experiments in history. If you found this content interesting, please like the video and subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking topics.